Big Bad Bunty's Boat Trip from Brazil by Sharma Pereira. Chapter A. There once was a girl named Ava who dreamed the same dream every day. She wished to travel to Australia to see Great Oyster Bay. The problem wasn't lack of courage. Ava couldn't have been keener, but more so her geography, as she lived in Argentina. Now Argentina is a country which borders with Brazil, and Ava, the keen dreamer not wanting to stand still, decided to take a trip to see the waterfalls of Iguazu. So she crossed next door to Brazil to get a better view. Chapter B. But the strangest thing did happen as Ava tried to take a selfie. A girl no taller than 2 feet and dressed a little elfie came up to her and in a deep gruff voice said, "Hello there, Bunty is my name, and travelling across the world is my young life's aim. I'm looking for a friend who will join me on my adventures. I don't have any pals, you see, since I lost my teeth and now wear dentures. The kids at school are sometimes mean and tease me for the way I look. So I built a boat and packed a bag, and now I'm travelling to the island's Cook." "The Cook Islands?" Ava asked excitedly in a voice filled with glee. "That is near Australia, a country dear to me." "I will join you, Bunty, though the voyage will be long. However, I am helpful, interesting, funny, and mighty freaking strong." Bunty and Ava spat in their hands, and on this pact they shook. Then they waved goodbye to Christo and plotted their route inside a book. Ava then asked, "Before we set off, can we visit my friend Cleo? She lives up north in Canada, and I bought her a souvenir from Rio." Chapter C. "Sure thing," said Bunty, beaming, and with a swing of the boat's wheel headed north, where waiting for them was Cleo, standing at Marystown Port. Now Cleo, an outdoor adventurer kind of girl, insisted they take rest and see the grizzly bears of Canada before resuming on their quest. Cleo showed the seaward travellers all kinds of bears and canyons, and even took them to the Rockies, where they became close companions. They ate poutine, bannock, and maple syrup too, but time was ticking on the clock, and they had more travelling to do. As they bid farewell to Cleo, she asked, "May I come along? I can help with wind direction by sucking on my thumb." "Why not?" smiled Bunty and Ava, and the three were on their way, when Cleo asked, "Do you think we can stop in Denmark? I have a friend there, Dylan, who I know will let us stay." Chapter D. Across the Atlantic Ocean they sailed, passing Greenland and Iceland en route. Eventually they arrived in Copenhagen, where they met Dylan and his flute. Dylan, you see, was a musical lad, and the flute was his instrument of choice. He walked them to beautiful castles and gardens, all the while singing with his beautiful voice. Bunty, adjusting her dentures, bravely asked of Dylan, "Could you teach me to sing like you, to make friends and not appear to be such a villain?" "Of course," jumped Dylan excitedly. "I'll join you on your boat. You can sing with your dentures out or in. It's really all in the throat." Dylan packed some things and climbed aboard, then had a good idea. "My friend Isa is a talented music teacher. He lives in England. It's just over here." Chapter E. Upon arrival in England, Isa told of the amazing music to come out of their new stop, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and a whole new sound called pop.
2, 3, 4.
Isa bought them some music books from Portobello Road. They visited the palace, caught a show, and on a big red bus they rode. While loading the boat with the books and music, Isa began to dance. "How about we all stop over at our next-door neighbour, France?" My friend lives there, she's quite a girl. Let's go visit Feliza. She lives in central Paris on an avenue called Champs-Élysées. Chapter F. Feliza, quite a girl indeed, laughed in the face of danger. She worked in the circus as a clown on stilts, accepting ticket money from strangers. Bunty, who you will recall was only 2 feet tall, gazed upon Feliza's stilts. She asked Feliza shyly, "Doesn't wearing tall legs make you tilt?" "No," Feliza chuckled, while asking Bunty, "Why not try them on?" Atop the stilts, Bunty immediately knew what it was to be 8 feet tall. As her confidence grew, Bunty said aloud, "Oh, how I wish I could be big and bad. They'd call me Big Bad Bunty, and all those kids who tease me would come to fear me and leave the country." Feliza roared with laughter and said, "Bunty, the stilts are yours. In exchange, can I join your trip and visit some new shores?" "Sure," said Bunty, standing tall, gazing upon the Eiffel Tower. "With these new stilts I'll be big, not bad, and I really feel empowered." "So where to next?" Feliza asked. "Do you have a plan? If not, we can visit my cousin George in Germany, Deutschland." Chapter G. Cousin George, the group learned, was mighty brave, a true king in the making. He could make his voice gruff and clench his teeth, leaving everybody shaking. George, you see, was a child actor whose favourite roles were bad, which was really rather funny, as George was a lovely little lad. "Welcome all to Germany," said George. "We have fantastic beer. Did you know that Ludwig van Beethoven was born and raised right here? Try some bratwurst with some frites. There's really nothing like it. Eating bratwurst helps me with acting. I make a mad face just as I bite it." "Wow," said Bunty while watching George. "You really did just scare me. With my new stilts I can be big, but George, can you teach me to be scary? I want to be Big Bad Bunty on a boat trip from Brazil. If you join us on our voyage, you can teach me the whole drill." George accepted the fun challenge to teach Bunty to be bad. He said, "This will be the best experience that I have ever had." With George in tow, the shipmates all got back onto their boat. As their stomachs made strange noises, "George," they asked in unison, "do you have any more bratwursts in your coat?" "If you're feeling peckish, there's a country called Hungary nearby. Only problem is it's landlocked, so no sailing. We'll have to fly." Big Bad Bunty flicked a red button upon her steadfast boat. 2 wings popped out and an engine roared. "Quick, hold on to your coats." As the boat soared up into the sky, "Which way is Hungary, George?" they uniformly cried. "It's left, my friends, then down a bit to Budapest. Such a great town. In fact, I'll call my friend Horace and he can show us all around." Chapter H. Horace, a good friend indeed, said, "Meet me on the Chain Bridge." Just after landing on the Danube River, Horace greeted them with goulash from his fridge. They visited Széchenyi thermal baths and St. Stephen's Basilica. Horace asked where they were travelling next, and Bunty suggested, "Why not join us and pick somewhere far?" Horace thought and after some time said, "Europe's great, but let's head east. We can go to India, where on food and culture we can feast. My friend Iris has a camper van and travels across India's palatial land. Let's fly over and get in touch. She's a lead singer in a band and can teach us much." Horace boarded Bunty's boat. "It'll be quicker if we fly. In just a few hours we can all land safely in Mumbai." Chapter I. Iris was an interesting girl with an electric blue-eyed stare. Bunty was in awe of the girl's monumental flair. Welcome all to India, where we greet each other with Namaste. Did you know that more films come out of Bollywood than all of Hollywood, USA? People speak 17 different languages here and wear beautifully coloured clothes. The toy markets, the amazing food, in India your mind will never get bored. Bunty asked, "How long have you been travelling here?" Iris answered, "A year and a day." "But I'm travelling on to lands anew, somewhere my hero does stay." With curiosity Bunty asked, "Who is your hero? Is it a singer like you?" Iris let out a surprising jolt. "A singer? Why no," she chuckled with tears of laughter. "My hero is the Usain Bolt. He lives in Jamaica, just west of here, a beautiful Caribbean island." "West?" cried Bunty. "We just came from there." Going west wasn't what they had planned. "Can we join you?" asked the crew, though they surely knew going west would take them back to the start. Bunty thought for a while and said, "It's okay with me, but check with Ava. Travelling to Australia is in her heart." Thoughtfully, Ava turned to the group and said, "Let's stick together and travel the globe. It's more fun experiencing cultures together." Iris jumped up with glee. "Can we go in the boat? Don't think my van can withstand more hot weather." I should add, my friend Joey lives there and he's a super reggae fan. He lives in a big blue beach hut selling Bob Marley t-shirts at a stand. Chapter J. Together they sailed from India to Jamaica, from east to west again with glee. Where Joey met them at Montego Bay, he said with a smile-filled face, "Irie, welcome to Jamaica. Was the distance quite a strain? I'm sure I'll make it up to you when you meet my friend, Usain." "Usain Bolt!" Iris cried before she fainted, to see her idol standing there. "Get up," said the crew with excitement. Gently splashing Iris with water, they cooed, "There, there." "Come on," Joey said. "There's lots to do. Usain's going to show us stuff." From Dunn's River Falls and Green Grotto Caves, hiking across the Blue Mountains was tough. At the end of the trip, Usain addressed the crew. "I had fun, but now it's time for me to go. I have my own hero to meet, another athlete. You might have heard of him. His first name is Mo." "Mo Farah?" jumped Isa excitedly. "He's from England. Are you going there?" "No," said Usain. "He's on safari in Kenya this week. I'm flying over, but I really don't like travelling by air." Joey said with delight, "Usain, forget about your flight. Bunty, is Usain going in your direction?" Bunty looked at the crew saying, "I suppose any route will do, so long as the crew has no objection." Addressing the group, Joey said, "Please also take me. I'm Usain's agent, you see, and my contact in Kenya is Khalid. He's a wonderful guide and has Mo on a ride in a jeep on safari. He's a great kid." Chapter K. They sailed over to Kenya with a hop and a trot, where Khalid and Mo greeted them with the Mobot. "Jambo," said the two, "welcome to Nairobi. Let's see animals and dance and sing. There's just so very much here that you all must see." There certainly was a lot to do. Lake Nakuru and the Masai Mara were just a couple of places visited. They even hopped over to Zanzibar. After the trip, they said goodbye to Usain and Mo. Collectively, they turned and asked, "Khalid, now where should we all go?" "Where I think you should travel to now is to a land called Latvia. My friend Lucian is a mathematician there. Among other things, he tutors me on how to style my hair. Lucian is great with numbers. He's a human calculator, but he likes to shape his hair into figures. His hairstyles could not be greater. As the crew were about to move onward to Latvia to visit Lucian, first Khalid asked, "Should we sail or fly?" Without a word, Bunty extended the boat's wings and sailed up to the sky. Chapter L. "Sveiki," Lucian greeted the group as they landed in Riga. He certainly did have fabulous hair, shaped into a 247 figure. "How do you get your hair to stay in place?" asked Bunty, all confused. "With water, gel, spit and hairspray," Lucian explained. "You could get the same look too." Bunty, now big, now bad, now beautiful, with hair shaped into a boat, took a walking tour of Riga city, leaving her boat in Rundale Palace's moat. The parks and castles were truly divine, but soon they all ran out of time. Bunty said, "Before we head off on our journey, we have to make one more stop. There's lots of us to feed en route. We'll have to pop into a shop." Lucian said, "If shopping is what you need, I'll help you look. Let's visit my friend Maya in Morocco. She can take us to a souk." "It's south of here, a wonderful place with amazing shopping markets. I buy my gel and hairspray there to keep my hair well kept." Back down they flew to Africa, although Morocco was at the top. "Let's all create a shopping list," said Lucian. "That way Maya can help us shop." Chapter M. "Labas?" asked Maya in Arabic. "How has your journey been?" "I think of it in wonderment. Oh, the sights you must have seen. Let me show you all around, you mighty curious crew. There are sights and places here that I'll bet you never knew. Todra Gorge, Uzud Falls, and the Hassan II Mosque as well. And then let's end our day with shopping. The souks have an amazing array to sell." Bunty and the crew told Maya of all that they had seen. Palaces, temples, churches, and to a mosque that they had been. "The different cultures throughout the world should be celebrated in awe," said Maya. "Our planet is so beautiful, and there's so much variety for all." "I'd love to join you if I may, but before we can get on our way, I need to drive to Nigeria. My sister asked if she could borrow my car. Nora, my sister, lives there, you see. Would you come to Nigeria on a detour with me?" Gamely, Bunty said, "Just drive your car upon my boat, and we can travel to Nigeria all afloat." Chapter N. Koyo, Mavo, Messer. There are many ways to say hello in Nigeria. Nora addressed the group alongside Lagos port, gratefully receiving the car they had brought. "Shall we go to Jabi Lake or Usman Dam? Or Yankari Park, where we can see elephants run the land?" They travelled across this epic place of bountiful and beautiful natural space. Nora asked Maya, "Why, little sister, do you need my car?" To which Nora responded, "I must drive it to Qatar. On the journey I must stop to go pick up a sultan. He lives along the route you see in a country called Oman. The sultan has a daughter, a wonderful child named Opalina. She wants to be a traveller, visiting countries near and far. Do you all want to come to Oman to collect the sultan and his daughter? I went to school with Opalina, and her dad's fun. He's a famous kids fiction author." Chapter O. They kept Nora's car secure upon the boat and sailed down and round the tip of Africa. As they docked in Salalah port, the Sultan and Opalina were there. Generously they took the group around to see the lovely sights, the Oman fords, a tour of Rustak, and the city of Muscat by night. At the end of the tour, the crew asked Opalina to tell them of all the countries she had been. "I've visited the world's most wonderful places, but where I'd really like to see is the Philippines. I hear they have wonderful beaches and shopping, and that Filipinos love to sing. This is wonderful, as I love to surf and I love to shop, and karaoke is my most favourite thing." So before we head over to Qatar, can we go to the Philippines first? I hear Bohol has amazing beaches, and to swim in the sea would be a first. The Philippines, cried the Sultan. Darling, the Philippines is just so far, and we were just about to take a drive over land to Qatar. Hearing the Sultan's concerns, Bunty made a suggestion. Well, the Philippine Islands are certainly in our direction. You can come with us on our journey east, but upon some geographical reflection, we wouldn't be able to sail you back to Oman to collect the car, which you would need to drive you and the Sultan on your journey to Qatar. Hold on, said the Sultan, thinking quick. I have a private jet. Let's load up the crew and Bunty's boat, and to the Philippines we can go next. We'll do a round trip there and back, and then on to Qatar we can surely trek. Fantastic, shouted all the crew. Do we know anyone from Manila? I do, said Cleo. My friend Pow, he's an awfully lovely fella. Chapter P. Pow waved to the crew excitedly as they touched down in Manila. Magandang umaga, he said, flashing a sunny smile that was a real heart-stealer. What fabulous white teeth you have, said Bunty as she rearranged her dentures. We're here in the Philippines just for the day, to add to our worldly adventures. Unloading the boat off the Sultan's jet, they set about to sea. Pow showed them Bohol, Boracay, Cebu and Pangalo Island. What an energetic guy was he. They ate fresh fish and chicken adobo until their stomachs were full. Where are you going next? Pow asked. Travelling around the world at your ages is so unusual. The Sultan answered, We're travelling from here quite far, away to a country called Qatar. It's west of here, why don't you come? And with that the crew added a new smiley one. Bunty asked Opalina, Who will you meet there? My friend Quinn, she said, grinning. He's got fiery bright red hair. Next they loaded Bunty's boat back onto the Sultan's jet. Then they boarded the plane to make their journey back west. Chapter Q. Standing at Doha Airport was Opalina's friend Quinn, with his fiery red hair shaped into shark fins. Cool hair, greeted young Lucian. Hey, thanks, Quinn replied. Cool hair yourself. Ever thought about having it dyed? Lucian and the others laughed and went with Quinn to see the most amazing skyscrapers and a desert safari. The shopping was amazing and the museums of art were full of treasures all colourfully marked. What beautiful things you have here, Quinn. Is there anywhere as rich in treasure? Yes, said Quinn, there is up north in a country called Russia. I have a Facebook friend who lives there named Ray's. He lives in Moscow now, but before that he lived in Tokyo, Taipei, Hong Kong, Hanoi and Macau. Chapter R. Russia was a colder land than Qatar, that was for sure, and Ray's, a very well-dressed boy, was handsome and demure. Let me add you all to my Facebook account, said Ray's. Wow, the friends you have so much, said Bunty, looking at his laptop. Ray said yes, I like to keep in touch. Ray's showed them St. Basil's Cathedral. What a magnificent sight! Then private imperial residences and St. Petersburg by night. Whenever they went somewhere new, Ray's would don a different suit, with matching hat and silk cravat and very shiny boots. We're starving, said the crew. Where's a good place to eat? Ray said, my aunt's. Yes, they said, be sure to thank her. Ray said she lives a little south of here in a country called Sri Lanka. Aunt Selina makes the best food that you will ever taste. If you're all hungry, let's fly there now. We have no time to waste. They said goodbye to the jet. Bunty's boat opened its wings and flew, with Ray's now very much part of the crew. What type of food will we eat? Asked Quinn, salivating. Does she make a good chicken stew? Chapter S. Auntie Selina was kind and warm, inviting the crew into her home in Colombo. They ate hoppers, kiribath, chicken curry, and for dessert some fruits called jambu. The flavours were delicious, spicy and coconutty, so much food in splendour, cutlets, devilled prawns and fish patties. Aunt Selina said you must stay a while in Sri Lanka, have a lovely cup of tea. Did you know you can pick the leaves here for yourself on a plantation up country? She showed the group the wonderful landscape, the temples, elephants and turtle sanctuaries. What a magical place filled with food and delights, and the special dancing from the large city, Kandy, at night. On your journey, kids, would you like to meet my nephew Theodore? He's on holiday in Thailand, in Koh Samui, an island off the shore. Chapter T. Hi, Auntie Selina, called Theo. Who do you have with you here? Pleased to meet you, everyone. Have you brought your swimming gear? Theo took them on a tour of temples and floating markets, beautiful beaches, sea caves, great food and street artists. Then they took a tuk-tuk all around Bangkok. They even did some shopping to ensure they had lots of boat food stock. Theo, you've been a wonderful host, said Bunty. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. My pleasure, said Theo. I'm actually packing right now. I'm off to the US of A. The USA? George jumped up. Are you going to Hollywood? Is it a very long flight? George, the budding young actor, simply couldn't hold back his sheer delight. Yes, said Theo, it is indeed. My friend is there, Yumiko. I'm flying into New York City to give a basketball match a go. Say, do you all want to come with me, though the journey would take a little longer? During the voyage we can all bond, and our friendships will grow even stronger. So that's what they did, these incredible kids. They sailed to the US of A. Laughing and joking aboard the sailing ship, they bonded closer every day. Chapter U. They finally docked into the port of New York, where Yumiko, a friendly and truly great sport, had bought basketball shirts for all the crew. They watched Theo play, scoring hoops all the way, and Theo's team they eventually drew. Yumiko, it turned out, was a great organizer. There were maps, there were plans, there was even hand sanitizer. They visited museums, restaurants, and climbed up the Chrysler Tower. They caught a show, ate falafel, and then everyone took their own shower. Before heading to see the Statue of Liberty, they all traveled south to Washington, D.C. Florida, Texas, Arizona, and California too, not to mention Utah, Colorado, and North and South Dakota. Time flew. Once they had finished, Yumiko was pooped, so Bunty regathered the crew that she had grouped. Yumiko, we could do with your organizational skills. Fancy joining us on our travels, guaranteed adventurous and water thrills? Yumiko said, oh no, the timing is such a pity. I have to travel to see my brother for his birthday in Ho Chi Minh City. Where's Ho Chi Minh City? Asked Bunty, devising a plan. To the east, said Yumiko, in a land called Vietnam. Chapter V. Yumiko's brother Vincent was finally turning 10, and Yumiko, the organizer, had arranged a party in Ho Chi Minh. The Vietnamese street food was just out of this world. They ate khao lo, com tam, chaka, bun cha, banh mi and some pho. They took a scooter each to take a tour around the Cu Chi tunnels and Ha Long Bay, what wonders they had found. Vincent, what presents did you get, asked Bunty, for your birthday soiree? Mum and Dad bought me tickets, Vincent explained, to the Western Sahara. The Western Sahara, you lucky thing, Yumiko gasped. Do you want to come too, guys? Vincent inquired. You only have to ask. Why not, said Bunty and her team. We'll travel there by boat. Across the Indian and Atlantic Oceans, I hope the boat can stay afloat. I have a travel agent meeting me there, Vincent added. His name is Mr. Walter, an expert on Western Africa whose knowledge never falters. Chapter W. "Hello," said Mr. Walter, greeting everyone with some tea. "I'm so pleased to meet you all. Why don't you follow me?" He took the gang kite-surfing along the Great White Dune, to mosques and to some churches, and the Centre Artisanal Layun. They went quad-biking across the sand and on a camel ride, then some Sahara sailing across the sand the crew did glide. Mr. Walter said then to the crew, "You really are so lucky to travel the world while you're all so young and bond with each other's different cultures so strong." A problem we often have as adults is not being able to see that our differences from land to land add to life's diversity. What we should be looking at is what we have in common, taking you and your friendships as examples so humble and so solemn. I think you should all travel to a conference on world peace and climate pollution bans. It's taking place in China, in the city of Xi'an. Your young and international voices are what the adults need to hear to stop fighting each other's countries, focusing on the differences that they fear. Chapter X. Himina, the conference organizer, welcomed the crew to the Chinese city Xi'an. The conference had thousands of people attending. Mr. Walter, with a smile of encouragement, said, "Quick, kids, get the attention of everyone." The crew, now tightly bonded, nominated Bunty to speak. After her past life saw her bullied, with her new friends her confidence was at its peak. Himina, the conference organizer, welcomed the crew. "Dear audience, thanks for coming today. We hope to have New World policies reached. Yet we seem to have some issues with each other and a constant need to argue and debate. So let's hear now from the new generation, who'll soon inherit the world that adults tend to berate." Following this introduction, Bunty stood on the lectern and began. "I hope today to share with you lessons I have personally learned from across this land. I started on my journey from Brazil, all angry and alone. I had no friends and no support or confidence of my own. I decided that the only thing I had in the world was me. I thought it best to escape my situation, packed a bag and on my boat I fleed. But what I soon realized was that the world's a great big place, and I went from being alone to having friends of every race, of every religion, skin color and culture too. Our interests and perspectives could not have been more different. But what made us all different was only ever embraced, and wow, what our friendships to each other have meant. The world is so beautiful, filled with food, nature and song. What we all believe and like is so diverse, and this is what makes us strong. So please don't fight and argue. There's no need, you see. We should embrace our international community and celebrate being free. Free to travel our planet and experience different lands. Free to swim the water, climb the mountains and trek through desert sands. If kids ran the world today, instead of fighting politicians, we'd soon come up with a way to play nicely. It doesn't take magicians. Please think of us when you make your decisions today. I was bullied by people before my adventures who had a lot to say about my looks and my existence. They learned to be cruel through you, the adults in the world today, who choose hate over being true. My crew, my friends who all are here, deserve an introduction. There's Ava, Cleo, Dylan, Isa, Feliza and George, Horace, Iris, Joey, Khalid, Lucian and Maya, of course, Nora, Opalina, Pau, Quinn, Ray's and Auntie Selena, Theo, Umiko, Vincent, Mr. Walter, and now we are joined by Himina. We are all a group of boys and girls of different shapes and sizes, with different beliefs and different reliefs, dressed in swim gear, posh suits and visors. Spare a thought for our future when you cast your next vote. In the meantime, we'll be off on our next adventure on our boat. Chapter Y. Just then a beautiful little lady rose from the audience to explain, "My name is Princess Yasmin. I'm from Yemen and I am 10. I came here with my father and I've been sitting here really bored, listening to the adults argue, fight and ignore each other's ideas and suggestions. Please, adults, I implore all of you to listen to young Bunty's advice. Why can't all the grown-ups find a way to just be nice? For the sake of all the children, find peace and protect the planet. We've got a beautiful one, you see, and at the moment you don't deserve to have it." Bunty, reclaiming the microphone, said, "Hey, Yasmin, you really are our kind of girl. Would you like to join us on our adventures around the world?" "Okay, great," said Yasmin. "Let me show you around my homeland, Yemen. Bye, Dad, I'll catch you later. I'll be back home for dinner at 7. With that, Yasmin boarded the boat and took the crew to Yemen. They viewed the beautiful architecture of Sanaya, Syra Fortress, and the wordy Diha Canyon. They ate sultar and Yemeni flatbread. The lamb was simply delicious. "If you like red meat," said Yasmin, "the best I've tasted is in a land beautifully auspicious." "It's south of here, Zambia. Do you fancy going there next?" Bunty said excitedly. "What a great way to end our quest. We will have visited lands A to Z, across the world. I'm excited to have travelled the alphabet. With all my friends, you're all my gems, my pearls." "Is there anyone you know there, Yasmin?" the crew asked. She replied, "Yes, my old next-door neighbour, Zara. She runs an elephant sanctuary on the border of Malawi and Zambia. We can sail the boat to Malawi and then drive to our new destination. It's going to simply be the best, exceeding all your expectations." Chapter Z. Zara was another princess like Yasmin. She wore the most interesting crown. It was made of smelly elephant dung and sticks, and it ponged and made them all frown. But she was so lovely and so interesting with her facts about African nature that they soon forgot the horrid smell and enjoyed her stories of adventure. They visited Victoria, Colombo, and Ngonye Falls, and Lakes Kariba and Tanganyika too. While eating nashima with beef and game stew, they said, "You've been a fantastic host, Zara. Thank you." "Where's next for you?" she asked, addressing the crew. "Now that A to Z has been ticked off your list." Bunty said, "Australia, the land Ava to visit had always wished." "After Australia, to New Zealand I'll go," said Bunty, "as that was my original quest." Zara asked, "Do you have room for one more? With all of you adventurers, it would never be a bore." The final chapter. Ava finally arrived in Australia and burst into tears of pure joy. "Thank you, Bunty. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here to enjoy Sydney Harbour, Phillip Islands, Uluru, or the beach of Bondi, the Great Barrier Reef, or Victoria's Great Ocean Road, with views of the beautiful bright blue sea and sky." Following a whirlwind trip across the land down under, the crew sailed to the island's Cook, which takes us to the end of the crew's adventures in Big Bad Bunty's wondrous book. But before you go, I have some news to tell of what happened to this crew. The most wonderful and strangest thing happened as the children grew and grew. Following that conference they attended in Xi'an, the kids went into politics in their countries and had presidents all become. Our story ends in happiness, with peace, we understand. The kids, all friends, grew up together, uniting all their lands. The planet flourished, pollution disappeared, and people became kind. Remember, adults reading this, keep your kids' unique gifts in mind. And speaking of gifted kids, guess which crew member wrote Bunty's story into this book? Remember the Sultan, the famous kids fiction author? Well, it wasn't him. It was in fact a her. President Opalina, the Sultan's daughter.